I've literally been able to do over $2.5 million in the last 2.5 years alone, with a lot of the sales actually coming through SEO. And the crazy part, I didn't even pay any attention whatsoever to the actual organic growth techniques or to the actual organic traffic I was even getting. Now, results like these, especially for those e-commerce brands currently using Google Ads, are not really unheard of, because when it comes to Google Ads, a lot of the strategies that kind of apply for Google actually overlap with SEO techniques. So it's kind of a two-in-one thing if you do decide to run your Shopify store just mostly through Google Ads. But I'm going to be telling you the exact strategy I use to explode my SEO traffic solely based off of Google Ads traffic. Before we get into the actual strategies, it's important to see the results. So this specific Shopify brand is actually a brand under my Google Ads agency, Euro Marketing, which I was working with during late last year, early this year, is a perfect example of what happens. I'm also going to be covering over other brands, not just my own, to kind of illustrate this. But as you can see, this was a brand which was already running Google Ads before I even entered, but not really finding the greatest results. And I started working with this brand basically during this time period when it was late Q3 and early Q4. So November and December is when I took this brand on, decided to work with it. And of course, things are crazy during Q3, Q4. However, things are even crazier when you get results for a brand like this. And as you can see on the screen, that was the case study I released on my agency website for this brand. It was a jewelry brand called Savora. But what we did is essentially run a really good targeted Google shopping campaigns, but we mixed in a few Google search campaigns. And I personally believe this kind of crazy growth right here was due to that mix of Google search and Google shopping campaign strategy, which we came up with for this brand. But this kind of blow up right here was the sole reason why after that blow up kind of finished, because again, Q4 ended, things started to go and pick up much faster for this brand than they had been ever since during the beginning of this time period. And trust me, this brand was doing fairly well when it comes to Taboola ads, because this brand was solely based over in Germany. But nonetheless, since that time period, the impressions, all of that stuff really started to increase, and they started to rank for more and more things. Moving on now to the next brand on the list, also a brand under my Google Ads agency, Euro Marketing, which we worked with late last year and early this year. As you can see, this was actually a full-on brand new brand which we personally started working with. We were the first ones to launch campaigns for this e-commerce brand, but things really took off very quickly once those campaigns were launched, because as you can see, this is a very competitive niche, by the way, so it takes a much longer time for it to really start ranking. But because of the strategies that we're working with Google Ads, everything was going well. Things started picking up extremely quickly. Impressions started to go much higher. The clicks amount also started to increase in the recent time periods, because they shut down their website for maintenance and to actually revamp the entire structure. You can see what happened to the SEO organic traffic right over here. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind. Don't just go crazy and just shut off your website, because this is essentially what happens. Moving on now to my actual e-commerce brand, which I personally run, we can actually see how things have been going for my own e-commerce brand. And keep in mind, this is a brand I did zero organic traffic implementations of, or zero blog posts, or none of that stuff. I basically did not do anything for this brand, doing basic search engine optimization techniques in order to make it fully optimized for Google Ads and to basically get more results with Google Ads. Nothing else was done here. So if we look from the beginning of time until now, we can see just how much of organic traffic I've been able to get, how much impressions, all of that good stuff I've been able to get for this brand, just because I implemented Google Ads techniques, just because I had Google campaigns running for this brand. As you can see, over 500,000 total impressions with about 5,000 total clicks so far. And there have been ups and downs overall, but I did not pay any attention to this part of my brand. I did not implement any techniques or whatsoever is needed, like backlinking, like blog posts, or anything else for this brand. But even then, I was able to explode this e-commerce brand. But let's rewind back a little bit to when I had actually started to add product for my own e-commerce brand, when I had actually started working with these other Google Ads clients, which I just showed you results of. And let's go back to the product phase and the product optimization phase, because a lot of this result, a lot of the reason why I was able to explode my SEO traffic solely with Google Ads all boils down to the product optimization and the feed optimization optimization I did with these websites. So like I mentioned earlier, everything was based around Google Ads. Nothing was based around the sheer fact of just getting organic or SEO traffic. So because of this, a lot of my main strategy was to kind of have keyword research so that I know what kind of keywords people are searching for, so that I can implement those keywords within my titles and within my description. So naturally, in order to do that better so that I could help my Google Ads algorithm within my Google Ads account out, what I did was implement the more search keywords more in the front of my titles as well as within my descriptions. I kind of had this whole strategy, which I'm not going to go into in this video because I made a video on that, which you can check out after this one. But this essentially meant that I had to use certain keywords in my titles and my descriptions to make it easier for the Google's algorithm, to make it easier for me to actually end up getting sales. But what I did not realize at that time was that all of these techniques I'm using are actually directly kind of flowing into the organic side of things. So when I started implementing these keywords into my titles, into my description, and then putting these products into my standard shopping campaigns to test these products out, what Google realized based off of the data it started to get within that standard shopping campaign is a lot of these products have certain keywords which I consistently keep ranking for. And that's just because I had did my due diligence of finding out what keywords people were searching for, and then I had done the work of implementing those keywords within my titles and my description. So Google naturally started pumping out more and more of this budget to those products. And in the back end, what was happening at the same time was Google's crawling mechanism was understanding that I was ranking for these keywords. It was understanding that many people were interacting with my ads for these keywords, and people were actually interested in staying for long periods of time on my website, and of course purchasing. So these were all green signals in Google's organic side of things. Google understood that because I was doing a good job with these keywords, even though they were not really organically ranking, I deserved to rank higher organically. So essentially what started to happen more and more often was the more I started to rank within these keywords within my standard shopping campaigns, and also when I started finding these winning keywords within my shopping campaigns, I transitioned those products into their own search campaigns. But Google noticed all of these efforts. It noticed a lot of the traffic for those keywords was going to my website, to my URL. It then automatically just started boosting up my organic ranking for that product. So this is something a lot of e-commerce store owners actually have zero idea about, and that is organic traffic and paid traffic go hand in hand. When I'm trying to rank organically for a very competitive keyword, I oftentimes actually run paid ads for that keyword, of course making sure I'm becoming profitable and I'm actually getting sales in the process, because if I don't, then I'm not wasting money on that. But ensuring that's happening, that's actually benefiting my SEO side of things, and you can rank for very competitive keywords which your competitors probably spend months and months and years even, and thousands of dollars of budget trying to rank up high for, with you going up and beating them very quickly. I know, because I did it not only for my own e-commerce brands, but also my clients' brands. But all of these things can only be done if you follow the right kind of product criteria, if you ensure everything within your funnel is properly in place. The number one thing you want to ensure with your product itself, and for this to really happen for your e-commerce brand as a whole, is that there are actually people searching for your product. So the number one criteria I always kept in mind when doing product research, when trying to find products to source, was there were more than 30,000 average monthly searches. If there were less than 30,000 average monthly searches, you bet I was not gonna list that product on my website, because I knew even when it came to organic traffic, even when it came to SEO side of things, it was just not gonna cut it. I was not gonna get too many sales. So I had to make sure that this criteria of 25K to 30K average monthly searches was getting met. Number two criteria, less than 4 to 7 competitors with the same kind of product. Now, keep in mind I said with the same or very similar kind of product, not in the same niche, because obviously there's no niche out there that you are gonna enter where there's nobody selling the same kind of product or a very similar product like you are. So what you want to look out for is a very similar product by another competitor, or in the same kind of niche, or basically the same thing, because that's what I mean when I say no more than 4 to 7 competitors. Because the reason why I follow this criteria is if there are 4 to 7 other competitors trying to advertise that same product, you bet that they're doing well with organic traffic and they're probably ranking high with organic traffic. So if you're trying to explode your free organic SEO traffic with Google Ads, this is not the way to go, because these people, they're probably already doing it and they've been doing it for a longer period of time than you are. So that's why if you want big winning products, if you want big winning campaigns with Google Ads, you got to make sure that the competition is less than 4 to 7 as a whole. But in addition, make sure you have desirable margins. I normally stick to around $30 margins or more, because with Google, if your margins are $30 or less, it's really very difficult to make that work. So make sure your margins can kind of help you with this explosion, help you with this growth, because these 3 things that I mentioned were the main reasons why my SEO for those specific products and then as a whole for my website was able to reach the level it was going at. But again, follow the proper guidelines on how to properly add them to your website, because it's not as easy as just adding them and then putting up a random title, putting up a random image with a random description. There's a lot of extra things that go into it. I have a ton of videos on my channel which you can check out. But if you're doing $30,000 or more in sales per month with Google Ads and you need a little bit of extra help doing these things and more to explode your Google Ads sales, go on my website at yourmarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how we can possibly work together to make that happen. But just adding the product the right way to your website does not guarantee that you will explode your SEO traffic with Google Ads. You need to take things a bit further, and you need to make sure that your Google Ads campaign strategies, meaning the actual campaigns that you're running, are actually properly optimized or actually running with the proper kind of settings. Because if you try, like for example, a manual CPC campaign for a testing campaign that tests all of the products on your website and your bid is like $10, obviously that's not going to blow you up with organic traffic. It's going to lead you down to bankruptcy very quickly. So you want to make sure that your campaigns are actually optimized, your feed is also optimized, everything is set to go with the campaign so that the campaign is successful, and then so that your organic traffic side of things is also successful. But one thing that really helped me explode with SEO was actually going back and optimizing based on the keywords that I was ranking for or that I was winning for. So this might not be possible if your account is entirely based on Performance Max campaigns. So that's why you want to have some search campaigns running, and that's one reason you might want to work with me, because I can help you launch some amazing search campaigns so you can then explode with SEO. But again, whatever keywords you know you're winning with, you're finding success with, just use those to then optimize your products, also optimize your search campaigns to rank for them even more, spend more money on them, because then you're going to start ranking higher and higher much faster, and rather than if you were not optimizing your products with those keywords or if you were not doing anything else. And again, if you don't really have that, do normal keyword research. Again, try to figure out what is that main keyword within your niche which can get you to that next level of success when it comes to organic traffic, because organic traffic is all about SEO techniques, all about finding the right kind of keywords. But again, if you're doing 30K or more per month, you need an extra bit of help with your Google Ads campaigns. Yourmarketing.com, just book a free call. It does not cost you anything, and we go over a killer strategy report which I can guarantee you will help you regardless of whether we work together or not. But if you found any type of value in this video, destroy that like button and destroy that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video.